Please join me in welcoming Des Woodruff and Ken Shamrock.
So the story goes as this. I was with Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I had a company that I got started called Grok Trade. Grok Trade started going, but how many of you guys read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad? A few of you guys. Well, you know the quadrants. I was in the self-employed quadrant. I wanted to be in the business owner quadrant. So it took me 2 years to transition from self-employed to business owner. When I did that, I wanted to open up my time to look for other business ventures. At that time, our church brought in the world's most dangerous man to speak.
Can you imagine that, a church? Yeah. Going back to the old days.
So he's there, and I'm a big fan. So I made sure I was the chauffeur. So I was starting to drive him around.
He was good, too. Good chauffeur.
I should be Uber. Started asking him business questions, and I started pulling on a thread. At that point, I found out that we might have an opportunity in working together.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that I see a lot happening with athletes, and I'm seeing it more now that I went through it a little bit, and then I reached out to try to fix it. But a lot of things happen with athletes. We watch them on TV, and you see them, they're all uppergenic, they're fighting with basketball or football, whatever they're doing, and you don't see anything going on that's wrong. But the problem is that there's a lifespan of these guys making a certain amount of money. Well, when that time comes up, this is their main source of cash flow. The same thing was with me, as my main source of cash flow was being in the main event and fighting. Well, that was coming to an end. And I needed to find another way to make money. And I was panicking because I'm used to making a pretty good figure, and now all of a sudden I see the end, and I want to kind of stay in my lifestyle. And so I needed to think about, well, how can I change this? And I hired a few guys before that to try to help direct me and make some different revenue in a different direction besides just the fighting. But they kept going in the same direction, bringing me to autograph signings at fights and trying to find different places for me to go with MMA. And they were making money off what I already created, which was the Ken Shamrock brand MMA fighter. I wanted someone to do something else for me. I needed somebody to come aboard to create what I've already built and marry it with something that was going to bring in a different revenue from a different place. And as I was thinking about it, I went down on the ministry thing. I met Des. We started talking. And he started speaking the same language as me. Well, not quite, because I didn't know how to do it. But he did. And when he broke it down to me, he was saying, well, you already have a product. You're Ken Shamrock. You've got millions and millions of fans that follow you. We can take you and we can put you next to a startup company. And yet you have all these followings, which will what? Cut down that marketing budget for the startup company. Because once you do that, there's at least 1 million or so fans who are turning their heads to find out what Ken Shamrock's doing. And so thus that's where Des came in, and that's where we came in as partners.
As an entrepreneur, I love the idea of working directly with a celebrity. As you all know, one of our biggest issues is finding opportunities or making opportunities, and maybe you have a great idea, but you don't have eyes, you don't have the viewers, you don't have their attention. That's built in with a celebrity and working with them. I want everybody to take a look at this. Sports Illustrated came out with a study in 2009. They said that 78% of all NFL players, 78%, after 2 years, are either bankrupt or under significant financial stress.
Understand this, though, really. Taking a look at that right there. That's what happens with athletes when they get to that certain level. They start seeing the end, as we spoke about earlier. And when they do, the problem that we're having is a friend, just not too long ago, a friend of mine who was in the industry of pro wrestling, I'm not going to mention any names, he just passed away. The problem with this happens more often than not, because when that point comes, Usually the athlete doesn't have, or the celebrity doesn't have the understanding of how to monetize what they've already created and built into a business opportunity. They're not wired that way because they had everything done for them up to that point. So then the panic sets in, they don't know which way to turn, and so next thing you know, they're drinking, they're doing alcohol, they're doing all the bad things, and the next thing you know, you find them up, either they're dead or they're broke, and there's nowhere for them to go. And that's why when I'm sitting looking at this, it's sad, because we can actually create an opportunity for them to be able to look in a direction where they can actually create some money for themselves from their popularity that they already created through being a celebrity.
We see the problem, and we believe that the solution is this: celebrity plus entrepreneur. Now think about this. The problem is, after a celebrity retires, I mean, the raw fact is this: once the limelight turns off, the money stops or decreases significantly. At that point, the celebrity needs to reinvent themselves or do something, or bad things happen. What we backed into almost by accident was, I saw the opportunity as an entrepreneur. I said, whoa, I could work with a celebrity, monetize that brand, take a hold of these other opportunities that come our way, vet them, and set money-making ventures into motion. The solution in my eyes was very simple. Put true businessmen and women, I mean real entrepreneurs, not entrepreneurs, real entrepreneurs with a celebrity during the times that they need them most.
But it's also, too, I want to make that point out, that when you're moving forward and working with a celebrity, especially being an entrepreneur, there's so many things that go along with this, especially if it's something that you're going to move in that direction to, as we did, but there's so much baggage that comes along with the celebrity. You know, sometimes they're prima donnas, sometimes they have baggage with divorce, maybe they've already gone through some hard times, so you coming in as an entrepreneur, you have to understand that landscape. You have to understand what you're getting into. You have to do your homework. Go back to school, find out what they've been through. That way, when you're actually working with them and you're going to bring them something, you have an understanding of where they've been and what they've been through, so you don't say the wrong thing.
As an entrepreneur, we want you to be thinking about finding a celebrity and connecting with that celebrity. So this is why we're going to give you some tips here. You want to look for the big names. I'm talking legends. I'm talking those individuals that has household names. If you find a celebrity, shoot for the stars. Find the big celebrities, because those opportunities are they're gonna open up quite nicely for you.
Well, and too, on top of that, when you're looking at household names, I know with me and Des and the things that we did, I was looking for a different way of making a cash flow. I didn't want somebody to come in and book me at MMA events and MMA seminars and fan fests and things that I already did. I was looking for him to build different revenue streams for me that would last my lifetime. So I don't have to panic about, if I don't get in the ring and fight, where's my money coming from? And you know, this is what happens to a lot of celebrities. We see it all the time on the news about someone falling out of grace. They don't have a direction or know where they're going. And that's where me and Des came into. And when you talk about that, the household names, you need to think big, because doors are going to open that you never would open before because of that name. So your opportunity and the things that you have to be able to present to them or go out and get are going to be twice-fold what you normally would be able to do. So keep that in mind.
So we're going to tell you the 5 must-knows in working. Take notes, because these tips are what I learned in the last 2 years working with Ken Shamrock. and I think these will help you. Number 1, and this is very important, define your roles. When you are connected with a celebrity, you need to let the celebrity and everybody, it's a partnership.
Right.
You're not coming in as just an agreement where you guys are working something out. It's a business partnership. It's a bit, and that is sizably different than what they're used to.
Well, yeah, let me talk to that. Let me speak to that. When you talk about an agent, right? Whenever you come in and try to pitch this, they're going to say, well, I already have an agent. Well, no. See, the agent works for the celebrity. an entrepreneur comes in and he's going to create different business opportunities from a different revenue stream that's completely different from what an agent's going to do. Agent's basically a babysitter, making sure that you get all your stuff done. It's on your contract. A business partner or an entrepreneur coming in is creating a different opportunity for you. And you have to make sure that you come in alongside and not behind or ahead of that celebrity. And then you have to have pretty good communication skills to be able to make sure that you're able to break it down so that celebrity, one, can understand what you're bringing to them and the value you are to them. And second, being able to break down that wall of distrust, because they've already gone through a whole career already and probably have burned somewhere along the line. So you have to build trust along with when you're talking to them, trying to present this idea.
And the number 2 is a huge one. Your job is to create cash flow. Entrepreneurs, we do that in our sleep. We're always looking for the next thing. We throw our ideas into motion. We can take a vision and actually make it tangible. That's what we do, and we do that very well. So your job will be to make sure you create cash flow for these guys. Celebrity fulfills requirements. So it's very clear when I worked with Ken, I said, listen, I will bring in the money. Let me do that, but I need you jumping through hoops.
Yeah, I had to do the dog and pony show.
Yeah. And it works out great, because now I'm able to tell the world's most dangerous man, hey, I need you to go to this appearance and do this thing. And he does it without question.
Well, it's also, too, you got to remember, starting out, there was some friction there, even though we were in common with speaking the same language. But there was a point in time where we had to start building trust with one another, because I had to know he was going to do what he said he was going to do. I knew his intentions were there, but intentions don't mean you're going to get it done. So there was a little period of time that we had to go through our honeymoon to make sure that he was going to do what he said he was going to do and that I could actually do what I was going to do. And as we went through that process, we ended up building trust with one another. And now he can ask me to go somewhere. I know it's solid. I don't got to worry about whether the things are going to be ready for me or whether or not a car is going to pick me up. Everything is done and taken care of, and I trust him.
And your job will be to run the business as a whole. Now remember, he's got a whole team of people around him or her, the celebrity does. You need to put on the business hat and be the business component running the show and doing so with confidence. Number 2, and this is huge. I'll tell you, I got caught on this one. Know your celebrity. I was a fan. How many of you guys saw UFC 1? Anybody in here? Whoa, very nice. UFC 1.
What was that? That was only 10 years ago, right?
10 years ago. A lot longer than that, brother. But he fought UFC number 1. He's a legend, 4-time world champion, a super stud.
Well, thank you.
And you're welcome.
Well, thank you.
Be informed on your celebrity. So what happened, I would be talking to individuals because people want to do a million interviews with them, a ton of podcasts. They're going to be on TV all the time, but they're going to be talking to you and working with you. And it's interesting, they just want to do chit-chat with you and want to talk, and you're caught with your pants down because you can't talk the language or you don't know some facts about the celebrity that you're a business partner with.
Well, and you have to also, too, I believe this in anything that you do, is that whatever you go into, you have to go in informed. And so if you get involved in this and you're gonna partner with a celebrity, and like I said, if you partner with a celebrity, you're going to be able to knock down and open doors that you normally wouldn't get to because of their status. The opportunities are phenomenal. But at the same time, you have to also build the trust. The way you build the trust is you got to go back to school. Yeah. You got to go back and say, listen, I need to know my client, the person I'm partnering with. I need to know everything about him so that he feels comfortable about me taking over his brand because he's already built it. And now he's going to go partner with somebody, take over a brand he's already built. He wants to make sure that that brand is going to not get embarrassed and stay strong. So you have to build that strength and that trust with them by being informed and knowing who he is. When was he first champion? Where did he go? How many fights did he have? You know, what are some of the down moments that he had so that you don't say the wrong thing at the wrong place and he chokes you out? But that's what I'm saying. Is just make sure that you're informed whenever you're getting aside somebody who has got a celebrity status that's already been down the road and has been successful, and now they see the end is near. There's a lot of stuff that you have to do in order to make sure that they build that trust and that you move forward without a hitch.
You'll see the second point here, and this was a big one. And I'll tell you, if you are going to fail working with your celebrity, that's when you do something that doesn't align with their goals or vision. It is paramount, hugely important to make sure that you have intimate conversations with the celebrity, saying, what's your long-term goals? How do you envision yourself out there 5 years, 10 years down the road? And they'll tell it to you because they know it. You need to know what their vision is, and then take that brand, that vision, understand that, so when you start to mold and rebrand that brand, or to bring vitality to it, you're doing it in the right direction.
Yeah, and too, you remember this too, is like as you're moving forward with some of these celebrities, especially this one right here when it talks about goals, if he was to go and we partnered up and we started working together and he saw what kind of brand I had, and he came to me and he goes, hey Ken, guess what, man, I got this great opportunity, man, we're going to be owners of a dance studio. I'd be like, dude, how in the world is that going to work for me? Yeah. So you have to be aware of what's going to work with the certain. Now, if you got a fighter or a celebrity or somebody who does dance, absolutely. But like I said, it has to match, and that's what I talk about, going back and understanding who your client or your partner is, knowing who they are and what their background is, to be able to match them with the perfect startup business.
Number 3, assess the territory. Assess the territory. When you come in with a celebrity, guys, they got a team already around them. And this is where I want to talk about the team. Usually a celebrity will have an agent, they will have a manager, they'll have counsel or an attorney, and a CPA. They got a big team around them. The dynamic is always going to be different depending on who the celebrity is and how they all work together. You have got to be able to navigate waters and to be very, very good at communication.
Well, and on that, and I can say this speaking from our relationship, Des has a flat personality. Like when you talk to him and sometimes he says something, you could take it the wrong way and think that he's trying to punk you out, right? So it's if I didn't know him and how his communication skills were, it would be very difficult for me to take him serious. But because he has such good communication skills, he's able to overcome that personality trait. Okay, he explains things very well. He's very good at laying things out, and he's very good at making you feel comfortable and seeing the vision, being able to see where he's going to bring you. And that right there, to me, as a partner with him, where I could actually see what he was saying, and it was in line with what I wanted. I didn't want to be in the fight world. I have already done this. I'm at the end of my road here. I needed a different road and a different way to make revenue. And he broke it down to me so I could understand it very clearly. And to me, that's very important as coming as an entrepreneur. You're not just a person that's going to set together a business plan. You're also a person that's going to have to navigate some waters because they come with baggage.
Now, this is something huge. An agent, what does an agent do? Basically, an agent takes orders, meaning this, or an order taker. Emails come in saying, hey, can your celebrity do this event or that? Or they'll make phone calls. They're basically managing opportunities that just come to them. That's not us. What we do is we create that opportunity. As an entrepreneur, like I said earlier, we do that in our sleep. What we do is we come up with an idea, a brand, his brand, and my ideas align with that brand. I have to know the brand. When you assess, because let me tell you, and Ken said this, I could not put Ken in a ballet studio. The world's most dangerous man. How many of you guys remember seeing Karate Kid? A few of you guys? That was the bad team that all wore black. Lion's Den. You know the bad guys? That's his group.
Yeah, period. Well, we really weren't that bad other than in the ring.
So when I got looking with the brand, the world's most dangerous man, bad to the bone, I needed to make sure that the opportunities that I'm creating or have created aligned with that. Furthermore, we need revenue streams, multiple revenue streams. That's your job. So assess the territory and know what their revenue streams are coming in. You may or may not be invited into those business deals. The quicker you earn your trust and the more you produce, you'll be shocked on how quickly they will bring you in.
Yeah, and it comes with
deals.
trust too, Des. I mean, that comes with, and it goes right back to what I was talking about earlier with the trust and the revenue streams. If you're bringing in revenue streams from a different place, and like with me and him, I was very happy with the direction we went. We got all kinds of different revenue streams coming in, not just from fighting, and immediately I'm very happy. So what do? I want him to be happy. This is a guy that's creating all this for me. He's using my brand, my image, my popularity, my fans, everything to do all this for me. I want him to be happy too. So what do? I bring him into the revenue streams that I already have going because I don't want him to go anywhere.
Thank you.
That's where it comes in. You're welcome. That's where it comes in building that trust, that strength, that partnership, and that bond. And then from that, it's endless. There's all kinds of things you can do.
Number 4, create revenue. This is what it all boils down to on our part. So number 1, be creative. I don't have to say that to you guys. You're entrepreneurs. If you're a real entrepreneur, you're creative already. But you need to think big. Now listen, guys, when you're dealing with celebrities, you need to go to a whole new level in your thinking. So think big, double it. Think big and double it. Think big, big, big. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do, actually, because, and I'd already spoke about it a little bit, when you're with the celebrity, like I said, there's every single time that you go somewhere, they're going to listen to you because of who you represent. And we're talking about a household name, so remember this. And when you're going there and trying to find a different revenue stream for this celebrity, trying to create more opportunities for the revenue flow for them, that you're going to open more doors by just being with the celebrity and being able to bring his name into it, and you're going to have more opportunities to do so. Remember, don't think small, don't think middle, but think big and be able to reach for the stars, because I promise you this, and Des has felt this, and he says, I can't believe some of the doors that are opening. Household names will open doors to give you an opportunity to do what you need to do to bring in revenue for that celebrity.
Sometimes we feel like we're just beating our head against a brick wall, and you're just looking for the next break. I was shocked on the opportunities that immediately started presenting themselves. I was a kid in a candy shop. Everything from getting equity ownership to getting publicly traded shares drawn our way. I mean, I'm telling you.
We had a mouthpiece that came in that has a computer chip in it. Nobody's even heard of this yet. That's in the beginning stages that will test concussion. The amount of pressure that's put on the head, whether or not you can sustain a concussion or not. These are all things that were developed by bringing a celebrity in, bringing his name to the product, and all of a sudden, a company that hasn't even started yet, you're getting equity ownership shares in because they know you can turn heads and bring attention to that product.
The secret is getting in early on those new ventures that are starting to present themselves. So we already talked about new ventures aligned with the brand, but increase old ventures. Now this is huge, and this is one of the easiest things to do. A lot of times they have a lot of business things going on already.
Right.
It is easy for an entrepreneur to come in and to expand that, to make it bigger. So it's already a money-making revenue source, but now you're just opening the pipeline on it. And though that's kind of low-hanging fruit there.
Yeah, and on top of that, I mean to interrupt you, but I don't know what I do, but the one thing is on this is that you have to understand that, like he said, there is already revenue streams coming in, but also on the same time, there's also revenue things that were there before that had dropped off because they were mishandled or managed poorly. So now you got to go back and try to figure out, well, is that worth going after? Is there enough revenue coming from that for me to check it out to see whether or not we can revive that because it was poorly handled by another agent or somebody that was there before that? So now you got to dig into that to find out whether or not this is something that we can revive and bring back to the forefront. Half the work's already done because you've already been there before. Let's find out whether or not it can be revived and continue that cash flow.
Multiple streams of income. Now this is awesome. What's great here is you want to position yourself and align yourself very, very closely to the celebrity. You don't want to tie up the celebrity too much in the deal. Now, this is something that I have found in my 2 years working with celebrity and doing these deals with these businesses, is especially the startups. When they see your capacity and what you're able to do, these startups that you bridge alliances with, they will start directly trying to use you to help build their business. So it becomes a time-sucking leech. So the secret is to have multiple streams of income. You want to do so, but keep an arm's distance, meaning that you will allow their name, the likeness, the image, and even the personality to be associated with that. And we want to put ourselves, another secret for you, when you're when you're going down this path, is you want a seat on the board. You need to have a controlling voice in the company. So what you want to do is look for equity ownership, number one. Number two, get a seat on the board. And from there, you are not going to work for them. You're not going to be in management. You're not going to be in day-to-day operations. Because if you do, you'll get sucked into one or two of these groups, and you will fail to do multiple streams of revenue streams.
And understand what you're doing. Understand what the job is. Understanding what you're there for. One thing you're there for is he's to bridge that gap for that business for what you're doing, which is you're there to actually go over and advertise for them, turn heads, bring popularity to it, not to run the company or to do anything inside of that. So just make sure as you're moving forward, both of you understand what your role is in that business.
And number 5, build your network. Now this is kind of fun. You cannot believe the Rolodex I have in my phone nowadays. People I never dreamed that I'd be in contact with. I deal with amazing individuals, household names, that I talk to on a very regular basis. That will happen for you too. What you want to do is this. These are decision makers. They have people around them to guard people from others. What you want to do, and what I found to be very easy, was I didn't have gatekeepers. Not too many times did I have a gatekeeper, because it was Ken Shamrock. I got to deal directly with the decision makers, and I kept it that way. The importance of this is huge. Get their personal contact information, and then look for a reason to stay in contact with them. Befriend them. You will be, because I'm telling you this, it is a small network. Once you're in, though, you're in. And if you keep your celebrity out in the front of these decision makers, the money just multiplies. It just starts coming in so much easier than what it might have been without that.
And one of the things that I want to bring to that as the other half, the celebrity half, is that when you bring somebody in as an entrepreneur, what you have to remember is you're not a fan. A lot of times when you bring somebody in, maybe they just know who you are and they're working with you well, but somebody comes in like a Michael Jackson, God rest his soul. But somebody comes in with a magnitude like that, and all of a sudden, the guy that represents you is over there trying to get an autograph and a picture. That's a no-no, even though it's really harmless. But when you're talking about professionalism, you're talking about having trust and protecting one another, that does not look good. So don't turn into a fan.
All right, so there are your 5, but we're going to give you some helpful tips here. Learn to roll with a prima donna.
Hey, I'm telling you, that's this business, there's a lot of them. And the reason being for that is not that these guys were born that way, but there's a point in time where everything is done from them. From the time, however they started out, everything was taken care of for them because they had an agent, they had a manager, they had an attorney, they had a cook, they had everything done for them. And all of a sudden, it's ending.
Okay.
So now you got to deal with it.
It sounds like excuses to me, Ken. But listen, in all seriousness, I learned something very valuable with a celebrity. They wear 2 hats. They have the, hey, we're friends hanging out. But when they get into their environment, like when he's doing a fight or part of the fight group, it is like Heckle and Hyde. Your personality changes dramatically, and I had to learn to navigate in those waters. It was a prima donna. I said, I can't believe you're asking for that.
You're right.
Anyway,
get me my water, please.
It's insane. I'm a business partner, Ken, remember?
Yeah, we forget that sometimes.
Sometimes
we're in fight
we
mode.
do, right. Vet your opportunities well. Now listen, it took me about 12 months into this new business that I found out that I needed to vet better. Because I'm telling you, a kid in a candy shop, you're trying to grab all the candy off the shelf. And I was doing that. I found out a lot of these guys were, one, it's not going to be profitable. Money was not going to come in, at least anytime soon, or unless a huge investment would come in, or some miracle from heaven, right?
Right.
It wasn't going to happen, so I can't spend my time on that. If it's going to be a loser, we got to cut it off and cut it off quickly. To me, at the beginning, I was looking to take everybody in. All of a sudden, we had all these plates spinning on poles, and it was just taking up too much time, opposed to working with real money-making opportunities.
Well, when you talk about celebrities, you also got to remember that people will promise you the moon and the stars to try to work with you. So they'll say, I can do this and I can do that. And so pretty soon you get strung along with them promising you these things to happen. And pretty soon you've spent so many hours and so many weeks and days on this, but nothing has transpired.
Yeah.
So sooner or later you're going to have to say, listen, I get it. But you either put your name on the dotted line or we got to move on. So right. Sometimes you got to make sure that that you have a strong backbone to be able to cut those ties.
Build great systems for scalability. Guys, this is just on you to do. And we heard several people today talking about building systems. John was talking about it earlier. I think Brandon talked about it. Several of us talked about systems. Put your systems in place where you can manage a ton of money-making opportunities without stressing you, your family, or the celebrity that you represent. Very important that you put your systems in place. Don't get caught up in the party. This is big. I'll tell you that I've witnessed this with my own eyes, where we'll go out and we're with a number of celebrities, and I will see team members of this other celebrity or celebrities partying and just letting their hair down and looking like a fool and not wearing the professional hat. I'm here to give you some big advice. You are a professional. Act like it. Keep that hat on at all times because the party is going to come to you, and it is there all the time. You have to be the sensible one. You have to make sure and protect. I'm constantly protecting the celebrity from bad situations. You can't believe TMZ how often they're in every nook and cranny. They jump out of every place. Am I right?
Yes.
They are everywhere.
And they'll print what they see, not what they know. They have no idea what the situation is, but they'll print it and say it. And by the way, the party thing, I don't do that.
Yeah, you don't.
I don't party.
Right. It's funny because Ken, he'll kind of go in, make his presence, and step out. Right. So those are some helpful tips for you. So here's a website you can write down. You can't go to it yet. It's not open. But it's ce3.co. What we're doing is we're pairing entrepreneurs, real entrepreneurs, with celebrities. So this is something we're working on right now, and we're in process of doing that. And let me tell you what we're personally looking for. We're looking for experienced entrepreneurs. We're looking for individuals who have success, and you can show you have success. If we look you up, we can see that you have a name. You have your own brand. And we can see that you know what you're doing. We want to see that you are a true entrepreneur. Two is not everybody has this, but you need to be a strong leader, somebody with a backbone, somebody who can stand your ground, and assertive, huge confidence in all steps of your walk when you're dealing with these professionals. This is a whole different level for a lot of us. When you're dealing with a celebrity, you're dealing with the mindsets, the egos run rampant. You have to be very assertive in those situations and have your own name, which I said before, have your own brand. So soon, if this is of remote interest to anybody and you want to be paired with a celebrity and you think you fit this mold, soon you'll be able to do that. Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, and I want to make sure that there's an understanding here. This isn't, the reason I got into this, one, was to try to make sure that I had a future. And I needed to change my direction, not just be stuck in one area. So I needed an entrepreneur to come in to show me some different ways to make money and bring revenue in for me. But also, too, the biggest thing is I saw so many of my friends, basketball, football, I have a lot of different people that I have come across in my professional career that have gone broke. And you saw the statistics. We didn't make those up. Those are real. Those are things that were done by ESPN. Those are real statistics. And a lot of people that I know have gone through the same thing where they got to that point and they end up, the money stopped coming in. And next thing I know, they're losing their house, the family's coming apart, they're turning to drugs and alcohol because they're depressed. It hurts. And I wanted to find a solution to be able to help that problem. And I believe that we have a solution. We have a way. The ones that are willing to work and be able to be rebranded as an athlete or a celebrity, willing to be rebranded and go in a different direction, we can help them. We can pair them. We can get them in a direction where they will make some money to be able to live a lifestyle they want. I'm not in this just for the money. Obviously, it's, what we have to live for. We all got to pay bills and live a lifestyle. But the bottom line, the reason why I went in this direction is because I want to help. I'm also right now involved with the youth program where I work with troubled youth, children. So I really have taken a direction and a stance to where I want to turn around. I've had 2 careers. I was in professional wrestling. I was in MMA. And, I was in Japan over there and had a career over there. I had 3 careers, and I was successful in all of them. But right now, it's about turning around and paying it back. And I have an opportunity to be able to do something about this problem that's happening with our celebrities and our athletes, and that we can show them a different way to go.
We saw the problem. It was very evident to us. And another problem, let me just speak to the entrepreneurs here for a second. A lot of us, we don't even know a celebrity. I mean, it would be hard to open up a door. I mean, to be quite frank, almost impossible. The gatekeepers that they have around them are stiff. Matter of fact, I happen to be a gatekeeper now. I understand that. And for the entrepreneurs, let me tell you what I like about putting an entrepreneur with a celebrity is it helps both groups. Right. Think about it. What do we want as an entrepreneur? We want opportunity, and we want a lot of people to know about that opportunity, that service, that product. It comes as a package with a celebrity. People pay big money for celebrities to come in. If you can come in and align yourself with a celebrity, but our problem is we don't know them. So what we're doing is let's just play matchmaker.
I know a lot of them.
A lot of them.
That's the hook right there.
So this is how you can contact us. Here's our information. And as you see, we have our Twitter accounts down there too. So with that, we thank you very much. And you guys are a good-looking group, by the way, also.
Yeah. God bless. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Take care.